I'm just gonna give a little bit of recording for us so that we hopefully can review it for those who need to. So as I mentioned, in the chat, with a heart from a Genera. I've given you guys the item. I'm not supposed to post it on important announcements. So what I'm going to do is have an archive on it and give you guys an option to do it. Okay, I'll find a way for it to do. So again, all the videos are available, and the first 2 weeks. I've given you guys the videos. Should you need to review it, I know a lot of you guys are from different time zones, different areas of the world, and different issues you may have, internet problems and so forth. I understand. So if you get stuck somewhere or there's an issue, um, definitely I am going to help you guys out with it, okay? Give you guys a little bit of a break, okay? Also, I try to be as comforting as possible, especially when it comes to language barriers. Try to make easier tone in my language as possible. But unfortunately, sometimes it falls on deaf ears, and sometimes I go fast, and you may miss out on something. So this is a good opportunity. If you have any concerns, any questions, if you want to review, go back to the topic and see what we're talking about. Definitely, it could help you. Okay, so definitely, it is something worthwhile to do. Nonetheless, of course, in our discussion for today, we're going to talk about organizations. We're going to talk about structure and culture that an organization has, and how can the structure and culture, like we saw last week, how can strategy dictate to us leadership skills that we need to build and decide on how to proceed in future transactions with a company. Okay. So nonetheless, what we are going to discuss for today is we're in organizations. So let's knock off two things for today. We're not doing introduction. We're done that, and we're done strategy. We're currently on organizations, and that will open us up to defining the project estimation. And this is right now estimation. Well, technically, and when I say technically, with the technical list of the Lee, will be, of course, in our midterm. Okay, it will be a midterm at that point. And then, of course, within week number 5, leading up to week number 6, we're gonna head to, of course, the midterm report. So that will open us up to a discussion, and that will also take us into teams. And from teams, we're going to talk about monitoring the progress. So that's week 7. And then from monitoring the progress, we're going to talk about the project manager. And then from the project manager, we're going to talk about outsourcing. And then from outsourcing, project closure, which is unit 10. And my favorite, RRCC, which is review, reflect, closure, careers, and that's unit 11. Okay, so the game plan is there. We're in the next level number week 3, and hopefully we can add on some major areas of our discussion. Nonetheless, of course, for today, we're going to talk primarily on the objective of identifying and understanding different management structures and what is good about the management structures that we have. How do we understand the management structures, and how do we see them through their strengths, what they're strong at, and what they're weak at? Okay. We're going to distinguish 3 different types of matrix structures that exist, and what kind of matrix structures a company has, especially how they complement their project managers, and understand also what's strong about them and what's weak. Okay. We're also going to talk a little bit about what the project management office is, the PMO office, what it can do for us, and how it can improve project execution, as well as understand organizational and project considerations, especially ones that are considered in choosing an appropriate structure for our own device. We're going to appreciate the significant roles that organizational structure has in managing the projects, talk a little bit about culture and interpreting culture of an organization, also understand the interactions between a project management structure and the culture of an organization, and try to assess what they are and how they should be conducted. So hopefully, what we're going to be talking about today is looking at the project management structure, understanding that when you create a structure, you have to work alongside the organization, and of course, definitely you can build a organization along the way where you can create a project management structure within the project management office. You create your own office to be able to create a strong and willing structure that you can work with, and of course, talk about what is the right project management structure that you can build upon. Look on the organizational structure and the organizational culture that we're going to have. And of course, what are the implications of company culture, especially with organizing a project and making sure that the project is going with schedule and with the blessings of top management. So hopefully by the end of our conversation for today, I want you guys to identify the main leadership styles for project management success, describe the roles of different variant leadership behaviors on an effective project outcome. Definitely identify the different management leadership facets, and hopefully talk a little bit about describing the different approaches with leadership practices, how it's applied definitely to the project managers, and also how they're implemented and executed along the way. So, welcome everybody to unit number 3. And the third unit, guys, we're going to seek to identify the main leadership focus, main leadership styles that hopefully we can understand that project managers use in giving us the right direction, providing implementations, providing motivations, and creating a healthy project environment at the end of the day. Even though it sounds good, there are some setbacks here. We're going to talk about ways to explore various leadership facets, leadership behaviors, and also bring together visionary, autocratic, servant, transformational leaderships that exist in today's modern business. We're going to talk about how they can be used in different circumstances, and hopefully coming alongside our lecture, I'm gonna ask you guys to read part number 1, section 9.5, and part number 2 of section 4.5 of the PM book, the Project Management Body of Knowledge, or better known as PM book, the guide on managing teams and understanding how teams develop all over time, how they are respectively created, and what you can do to understand a little bit more about the different areas that will be important towards teams. You will also read the paper that I've left you guys in unit number 3, which talks about leadership skills and needed essential leadership skills for project managers, written by Dr. Kumar. Okay, so that is going to be available for you. Also, we're gonna be doing a learning activity like last week, where you would submit to me by the beginning of our next class, the learning activity. So the learning activity in this unit is based on project manager leadership facets. The goal is to address how to improve different competencies of the project team members, creating a team interaction, and increasing the overall team environment. So in order to enhance project success and ensuring that the project team work effectively together and efficiently together to decrease turnover rates, improve individual knowledge and skills, and the teamwork. Definitely, this is a good learning activity to kind of delve into. So again, at the end of the week, guys, also you will submit to me part number one of your project teamwork, which is a project charter. Okay, which is a team case study assignment. Part number one is just the project charter. For those who have taken previous classes it at Yorkville, I know there's other classes that have LTA, learning team agreements. Project charter, learning team agreements, exactly the same thing. In fact, in some cases, I would accept LTA because it's almost the same thing. But in this particular case, a project charter, all you need to do is give me the student information, give me all their necessary contacts, how you're going to be talking, how you're going to be communicating, and of course, having a leader sending out the information, making sure everybody has it, okay, and everybody will abide by it. Okay, I know I've given you groups. I know some of you guys created your own subgroups. At the end of the day, I will respect either or. So again, when I get the project charter, it will be quote unquote the official team. Okay, the official team that you will have, and sometimes there will be changes because some people have left a group, some people have joined a group. So definitely, I am more than willing to accept your changes. Okay, so long as there is a project charter that stipulates who's on your team. Okay, so that you can use it throughout the semester. All right. So again, guys, Project Charter, we're going to hopefully complete it and have it submitted to me by the beginning of next week. Okay. All right. So jumping into our conversation, we're going to talk about different project manager structures that you will be dealing with. Basically, in any different companies, project manager structures are formulated into three major categories. The first one is you have functional organizations where you work in a big company and they have a functional organization where on maybe a given time or possibly on a one-off situation you're going to have a project. However, the company is still run operationally. It's still functional like any other organization. And what you're going to be doing is understanding that within that company, it's a functional organization that deals with the different areas, the different facets of a company. So you're going to have a top leader, you're going to have different managements, and then you come in and you work alongside it as well. So that's one side of a management structure. Another side of management structure is working with dedicated project team, where now you're going to have your own department, you're going to have your own team, and it can still be functional, but you're going to have a specific specialist that you will be dealing with. All right. So those are the two primary key factors we're going to be working in. And then the last one, of course, is your matrix structure. And matrix structure is broken down to three different subgroups. Whether you're going to work in a weak matrix where a project manager doesn't have a lot of control, balanced matrix where a individual does have kind of control with, the same kind of manager structure as a organization. Okay, so let's say you're working with an operational manager. That manager will have kind of same powers as you do and vice versa, or a strong matrix where you as a project manager has some stronger appeal than of course a for example a operational manager. Okay, so you have the table, but in a weak matrix, the vice versa is you have no control of it whatsoever. Okay, so to understand a little bit more, let's start with the functional organization. So a functional organization is very simple. Every company has a hierarchy, and nonetheless, a functional organization does have that hierarchy as well. So you have top management, which is like the CEO, the president, VP, director, and so forth. Depends how the company is structured. And top management decides to implement the project. So you do not create the project. The stakeholders, the sponsors are going to come from top management who decided that we need this project, and different segments of the project are distributed to appropriate areas. Okay, so they will delegate how it will be managed. They also coordinate and maintain a thorough analysis, and through maintenance of normal management channels, they will basically control how the project is going to be done. Usually, it's commonly used when one functional area plays a dominant role in completing the project, or sometimes has a interest in the success of a project. So a lot of times, the idea came from top management. They are saying, "Eureka! We have an idea going on. We would like to pursue this project," and then they bring you on board and say, "Well, you are a project manager. You are skilled in project management. I would like you to start this project and make sure you can do it." So a lot of times, a functional organization is one that has hierarchy, and this is a good example of it. Underneath this whole area, what you're going to have is you're going to have your president, okay? And alongside the president, you're going to have some human resources, finance and administration overseeing different areas of the organization. But then you're going to have different major departments. Okay. And the major departments are where the project coordination is. So you don't have a office that deals with project management. You're going to have departments, and those departments are going to say, well, we're going to need a project. Okay. So there's going to be marketing, there's going to be engineers, manufacturing, and I believe procurement. So within those areas, you're going to have, different departments within those departments: customer service, sales, international sales for marketing. Engineers will have electronics, software, mechanical engineering, design engineering, and then manufacturing would have fabrication, assembly line, testing, production, scheduling, and beyond. And then last but not least, when you look at purchasing, you have the purchasing department and receiving an inspection of your goods. So functional companies are very, very specific. Functional companies are, well, what I would kind of assume is most companies, they have that hierarchy where you have top management, and then below you have different departments working on it together. So there are advantages and disadvantages that we have altogether. Some advantages is that you have a functional organization to administer and complete projects. So a lot of times what occurs is that within a company, you have some advantages of why a functional organization is good for projects. The first one I usually say, because a lot of times I work with any major company that has a functional organization. The first thing I like about it is there's no change. Okay. Company is profitable. Company has its operations. We just have a new project going on. So because there's no changes, we have, day in, day out operation. It's very easy. It's very flexible. Okay. You walk in and you complete a project on behalf of a company. You work in a department, you're good to go. Very flexible. Okay. You're still making money. Okay. You're still walking in, and every day there's some form of profit so that you can kind of relax, as we call it. Okay. You get a lot of in-depth expertise. Okay. You get a lot of people who have their specialization because you have different departments. It's easy for post-project transition because, again, when you finish a project, all you have to do is just go back to your department. That's it. Okay. But the problem here is that because it's a functional organization, there's also things that might not be always the best. And some of the things that are not the best is there's a lack of focus. Okay. Nobody really focuses on a project because when you have an operation and you have customers and everybody is from different departments, how can you focus so much on a project? Okay. There's this weird sense that, well, you want me to come in for 8 hours of the day, but you also want me to do this project. Okay. How possible, how in which possible way would you like me to do it? All right. So think about it like, if you're working from 9 to 5, you need to invest, let's say, 4 hours for the next, 5 months to work on this project. Does this mean that, I have to focus on my sales and you know, my customers from 9 to 5 and then add 4 hours extra so that you can be satisfied with the project? And it means my day is going to be from 9 to 9. How fair is that? Okay. So because of that, sometimes they integrate it with your workday and there's a lack of focus. There's also poor integration sometimes because a lot of times you'll have a poor integration of bringing everybody together. Everybody's on their own set of terms, conditions, and day-to-day operations. Some people are part of your project. They're going to be on the business trips. Some of them are going to be busy with other different assignments. It's a mixed nut here, okay? And you definitely want to make sure that you have the right upper hand here so that there's no problems, no issues, and you can create a good project altogether. The problem here is also that because of lack of focus and poor integration, your project is going to be slower. Okay, so if you had a project that is working with a functional organization, a lot of times you're going to have a situation out there that you may deal that the project is going to be slower. Okay, so a 3 month project can easily turn out to be a year project because no people have signed up to the project, but they're not really focusing on a project. Can you blame them? You have a position in a company. Okay, you're not a full-time project manager. You're a product manager. You're an engineer. You work in purchasing. You work in manufacturing. You're getting paid to be in operation. Okay, your presence, your talent is driving a company to success. And now you're telling me, well, here's a project, finish it in 3 months, which, it's not possible. Okay. You're not a clown in a circus. You're not juggling, multiple things at once. So you need to make sure that there is a focus going on. So a lot of time what occurs is that when there is going to be a situation out there, you're going to be able to understand that in some cases there's going to be a lack of ownership. Okay, people do not take an ownership in a project. They may join a project, absolutely, they love projects, but at the end of the day, they just simply don't have the time. Okay, so the question now is, do you want to stay at work from like you know 9 till 9, 12 hours? And my answer might be not really. Okay, I really do not want to stay at work so late so that we continue on the project and create a good harmony there. Okay. However, there is a solution to a functional organization, and I gave you guys the highs and lows of it. The other side here is you have organized organization um, that has projects in dedicated teams. So now you have actually a dedicated project team that operate as a unit, like we saw in our hierarchy, a unit with the rest of the parent organization. So basically here you have a new unit. We have 4 departments. Now a new department will be starting. In a dedicated project, now you're going to have a full-time project manager who is designated to pull together a core group of specialists who will work full-time on the project. Meaning that instead of working, in my operations from 9 to 5, I'm going to be working on this project and assisting. Thanks a lot to a full-time project manager who has his own department as project and ushering in, its own policies. So now you're gonna have a project manager, and the project manager, thanks a lot to reading, of course, part number unit 1 and 2, will be a project manager that recruits the necessary individuals from both um, the company and even from outside the company. Meaning we're gonna outsource people so that we can build a good project team. So in a projectized organization where projects are the dominant form of a business, the entire organization is designed in a way to support the project team. So it means that yes, we have an operation going on. Yes, we also have, different departments, but we will support as a company the project. Okay. And there's something in project management, that we kind of learn about that's called the project TTs. Okay. Under the project TTs, project itis or project TTs, it is referred to as a negative side, a negative dimension to dedicated project teams. Okay. The idea here is that there's a we versus they attitude that can happen and can emerge between project team members and the rest of the company. Okay. The thing is, it's like a we versus them mentality where why do they get something and we do not mentality. So a lot of times, for example, uh, they may get, for example, every other Friday they celebrate a milestone, so they get time off. Why don't we have it? For example, they may do a project and get rewarded for it. Why don't we have that? They may, work in different time hours and so forth. Is it fair? They may get a easier policy than we do and so forth, and a lot of times some people do not like it. Okay, even the most smallest random items, some people do not like the change. Okay, so for example, in my project I can come without a tie and a dress. Meanwhile, everybody else has to wear suit and ties and dresses. Okay, that's not fair. So project TDs is that there's a bad side to dedicated project teams because they're gonna have all the fun in the company. Meanwhile, I have to actually work. So how does a how does a dedicated project team look like? Under a dedicated project team, you're gonna have, of course, human resources and finance, like we done. We're gonna have president, and then below we have the departments, like we do. But then you have a special department down here, which is project management. And what occurs here is that you're gonna be bringing the best from different groups. So you're gonna have, for example, one, two individuals from marketing. Then you're gonna have maybe two people from engineering. Okay. Let's say you're gonna have one person from manufacturing, and then you don't need anybody from whoops, I gotta write five, sorry. Let's fix that for you. Five from manufacturing, and then that's it, okay? But assume you need a specialist, and in some cases, what's gonna happen is that you have a outside individual. Ugh, me and my fancy mouse. Who will come in and will be the sixth member. Okay. So you as a project manager can actually outsource individuals. Okay. And the good part here is that it's the discretion of the project manager in office where the project manager in office could be able to do it. Okay. So what occurs here is that when you have a projectized organizational structure, again, you got to get support from top management, and top management even will support outsourcing. Why do you outsource? Well, sometimes you don't have the availability going on. Sometimes the sixth person that we outsource is a specialist. Yes, Mary, you had a question?
Yeah, so if there are no projects going on or anything, would these individuals then just go back to their regular departments?
Correct, but in this case, if you have a dedicated projectized organization, you have ongoing projects. So that's the reason why you're going to have a specialized department just for projects.
So then they would no longer be part of marketing, engineering, manufacturing. They are,
Yeah,
they've been
be,
removed.
yeah, they have been removed, and now they're full-time project managers. They're working alongside the project manager full-time.
Okay.
Yeah. So in this particular case, there is going to be friction going on. A lot of friction does occur mean because in most cases what does happen a lot of times is that within a project team and that approach, you're gonna have different issues. Okay, so I've been in this situation before where I've had to recruit people from different departments, and department managers simply do not like it. Okay, they need them. Okay, they need them, especially marketing and sales. They have to reach a quota. Okay. And, in the end of the year, it's the last push to push it to a certain amount where they can get bonuses. And, myself, the devil in the department project manager comes in and swipes your best employees. And then all of a sudden your sales stagnates. Okay. So, this attitude that I brought to the table simply does not support, you know, cooperation with other departments. So what is good about this project, dedicated project teams? In most cases, the thing I saw good about it is that this particular structure is very simple. Okay, and the idea here is that you still have other projects happening, multiple projects, but like I mentioned, the same people do not work in the same project. Okay. So again, you're going to have the departments, human resources, finance, legal, marketing, whatever it is. And then let's say you're going to have multiple projects operating. So in this project, maybe you're going to have either myself running it, or maybe I'm going to have multiple projects running at the same time, or even another project manager running it. Okay. So let's say an alpha project, you're going to have like, three people and engineers coming in, electrical, mechanical, software, fabrication assemblies and testing, and maybe one person from procurement or none. And in the other project, you're going to have not the same people, system, hardware, maybe somebody new from software, and then manufacturing, same thing, assembly, testing, and beyond. You're going to have these individuals, and maybe let's assume that the same procurement person if they're available. But then you're going to have subcontractor work, okay, where you're going to bring in three other people from the project for beta project, and they're going to work together. So as you can see here, other projects are operating, multiple projects are happening, and the goal here is you're going to have multiple projects being worked at the same time. Okay. So when you kind of compare the first example that I gave you guys, the functional organization, in many cases, this company is profitable. This company has ongoing operations, but it wants to do something new. Okay. It wants to expand operations, wants to build a new branch, wants to change their menu, wants to possibly create a new application, something, but it doesn't do that all the time. Where in a organization that's fully committed to a project, it has just multiple projects all the time. In fact, I'm going to go further and say that they're doing the multiple projects at the same time, mainly because they have the projects making them money. Okay, so they are an engineering company. They're a company that does civil engineering of some sort. Possibly they are doing construction, infrastructure, roads. They work with governments. Okay, they do all sorts of things. And basically, in order for them to make an operational profit, they need a project. Okay. So what is good about this whole structure that we see here? You clearly have support from top management, in some cases from different departments. The good part I found from this particular example is that it's a very simple, very, very simple structure to conduct. Okay, very simple to do because all of a sudden you have a project team, you have a project manager, and that project manager basically runs its own department. Okay, you can highlight it, you can run it. It's very easy, it's very fast. There's a lot of cooperation, so it's very cohesive. Okay, and a lot of times you deal with cross-functional integration because more or less you may not work with the same people all the time. You also can work with other people from outside. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of cross-functionality in a dedicated project team approach. However, don't get me wrong here. Okay, I'm not trying to burst the bubble. It is gonna have some disadvantages. Some of the disadvantages is that it's very expensive. You're not only running a show here, you're running your own department. Also, you're gonna be hiring. If you're like top management, you're gonna be need to hire a project manager full time, ongoing. Okay. Um, Not gonna lie, project managers are very expensive. Okay, they will request a good chunk of money, maybe like 150,000. So you're below 150,000, and they normally will run their own operation. Okay, so in most cases, the costs just add on. Okay, you need, a support, administration, and so forth. It's gonna cost the company quite a lot of dough. Okay, quite a lot of money. So it's not a very, you know, inefficient item. And again, if you're just, changing one or two things per year, doing one or two projects, having a person sit there for like, 365 days a year and only doing two projects, and then the rest of the time nibbling on their thumbs and on their computer for whatever reason, it's not going to make any sense. Okay, so it's very expensive. You'll also have internal strife going on. Sometimes when you recruit the best, that means they have to work full time in a project. And like I mentioned, some department managers and operational managers simply do not like that. Okay, you're basically dissecting their success. You're taking away the best of the best, and all of a sudden you're creating your dream team. Meanwhile, leaving them blank. Okay, and unfortunately, I've seen it before. As much as they complain, if a project is going to give us, twice the success and make us go from a company that, is second in command to a company that has the best technology or the latest product, as we saw, of course, last week with the Matheson idea. We have the bread and butter, but also you have like the pearls. If we make a pearl, definitely project, definitely the top management will see this as, the sacred cow. Once the sacred cow becomes mature, definitely there's rewards out there. Okay. And, you can clearly see it in reality. Um, for example, I talked about pharmaceuticals last week and how pharmaceuticals has the bread and butter. So like a company like Bayer, their focus is, of course, make aspirin, make hundreds of millions of products like aspirin because we're always going to have headaches. But then they have, proven technology, proven science behind other things. And then they have like, next big thing. Okay. So for example, the last 2 years, many companies rushed to make the vaccination. Okay. And of course, who did make the vaccination? Only a handful of companies. Okay. Still do. Okay. Of course, we have, what's the company name with a P? That I got jabbed with. Yeah, Jide. Nope.
Pfizer.
Uh, Pfizer. Yes, Pfizer. Ugh, it was in my tongue. I was like, what is that company? I'm triple visored. Yes, visor. So they created that item, and along with the other companies, that was their sacred cow. Okay, if they made it, they have such a great position, and you can clearly see that they probably canceled other projects to get there. So there will be very angry operational managers at Pfizer saying, "Well, I need a person. We had the next big thing for Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or something different, and we just cannot do it. Okay, so it becomes a huge issue. Jai, you had a question?
Yes, Professor. Hello. Yeah, Professor. Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Yes. I was I was reading through this our strength weaknesses so dedicated team projects. So based on these, when I look at the strength, simple, fast, cohesive, and functional integration, I need information, I need it to guide me. So why would a company want to use a method that is expensive? And not only is it expensive, it creates a ground for strife and it's difficult to think, like, why would they still want to use this method?
Okay. I got a couple of it. Are you asking like why?
Because the aim of any business is to minimize cost and increase the output.
Okay. I got
Why
a bit
use
of
this
it.
method?
Oh,
Why use this approach if it has all this,
what?
weaknesses?
Why? Okay, okay, good. Okay, I think I kind of dissected your question. Why would you use this approach if it's very expensive? Is that it? Was that the question?
Yes,
Okay,
that's the
good
question.
question. Good
Why?
question. So, for those who,
I want ease. I wouldn't want to say cheap. I would want to say affordable. Yes, I wouldn't want to say cheap.
right. Good question. Good question. So, that's actually a good statement there. Definitely the reason why people want to use it and it's expensive, of course, is because you have multiple operations running at the same time. So if, for example, there's like 10, 15 projects running, definitely you would need to invest in some form of project manager. Mind you guys that when you look at a project manager, they do cost and they're very expensive. But in some companies, what they do is they even outsource. Okay, they bring in a project manager from outside. So there are smaller companies out there that need, a project to be done, but because there are maybe less than about 20 people in the company or maybe 50 people in the company, there's not one specific person that's dedicated to the project. So for the next 3 months, when they complete the project, they can outsource a project manager. Okay. So a lot of times you do not need to hire a professional project manager. You can bring in an individual and that person can work for about 3 months, can work for a fraction of the price. Okay, still be expensive. Maybe about, I'm just throwing a number out there, maybe $30,000 to pay for 3 months. But they will be, working in the project alongside for you. Okay. So there are individual project managers who currently are working all over the city right now in small projects. And what they do is instead of working for only $30,000, they work on multiple projects throughout the year and they run their own company. Okay, so a lot of times some companies simply cannot afford a full-time project manager because it just doesn't make any sense. But in other companies, and I give the example of the idea of construction. In order for a construction company to be justifiable, they need a project manager on hand. They cannot simply have, no project manager and multiple projects, costing a lot of money. Okay. We're talking about construction. We're talking about infrastructure costing hundreds of millions of dollars. And you need a project manager to run it properly and smoothly. If you don't have that, then time will be problematic. There will be problems having within the company and different issues altogether. So nonetheless, of course, take into consideration that it is expensive, so you have to justify hiring somebody who will do the job. I will have internal problems because again, you're taking the best of the best and making them work full time on a project versus limited time that we had before. There's also limited technology expertise sometimes because, again, you have very limited use for the items, and even worse because you have so much projects working at the same time. Post project transition will be a problem. Okay, and the reason why I highlight that it's a problem is because you're going to have situations out there where, in some cases, you're going to be working for like 3 years full time on a project. You're going to be moved from your natural habitat, natural department, into the department that you're currently working in on the project. And then all of a sudden, 3 years passes pretty quickly. You're going to come back to your department. And then you're going to be like, what's next? What do I do? Okay. And all of a sudden, people moved up the ladder, things changed, and you're just going to jump right in. And it's not going to be an easy transition. Okay. So there's a lot of post project issues that we deal with. And definitely, we want to make sure that we can mitigate it as much as possible. Okay. All right. Beyond that, of course, there's also the matrix management, where in matrix management, it's a hybrid organization that will form in different parameters. And beyond, of course, having functional and dedicated organizations, you also have the matrix management system. The matrix management is a hybrid system within a company that will formulate in which you have horizontal project structures that will be overlaid in normal functional hierarchy. So we still use the hierarchy in the company, but in this particular case, there are usually two chains of command. One chain that will have the functional line of operations, the other, the project line. Okay. So in project participants, they report to both the functional manager and the project manager at the same time. And as we saw in dedicated teams, there might be some friction. So the matrix structure is designed to look at the resources and use it optimally, okay, in the most optimized way as we can. So the idea of the matrix structure is that in some situations, we may be able to have a strong project. In others, we may have to have some support from operations. So individual works on multiple projects as well as having the capabilities to function in a operational duty. So it means that you're still working in a operation of some sort, your department, but you also are going to be capable of working in your project. The idea of Matrix is that you want to achieve greater integration by attempting to create and legitimize the authority of a project manager. So the project manager may have some strength out there, and provide dual focus between functional and technical expertise and project requirement as need be. So the idea of a matrix structure is that yes, you're going to have multiple projects, but in this particular case, you're going to have different formulation on how it's going to be placed. So now we're going to have a new department, and the new department, of course, is the PMO office. And under the project management office, you're going to have the different divisions of project administration. So you're going to have 3 projects working alongside the project. And in this particular case, you're going to have different departments that are going to be working and supporting different projects all along the way. All right. So in the first project, you're going to have a director of project and the project administrator. So in every project, you're going to have a project administrator working. And alongside the way, you're also going to have different areas, different supporters working at the same time. So in the first project, project A, you're going to have different departments, except for, of course, software engineers. There's no need for them in this project. You're going to have different mechanical engineers, technical documenters, manufacturing working with it, and then even in sales. There's nobody in sales that will need support in this project. Okay. Then, of course, in the other project, you're going to have basically everybody working together, and then you're going to fulfill different departments as we saw together. And last but not least, in the last project, you're going to have one engineer working and the whole marketing department working as well. Okay. So you're going to be working in a matrix situation where you're going to have multiple projects at the same time, and a project management office, PMO office, with a director of projects handling it and then assigning other project managers together. Okay. So as you can tell, there might be friction. As we saw in dedicated teams, there's friction. Operational managers seeing that you're taking the best of the best, putting them in different situations, and taking people that you need all of a sudden from their normal habitat into, of course, a project, and thinking that it might be functional. Okay. But there are different levels in matrix. Okay. And a lot of times the division of project managers and functional managers usually have different responsibilities in matrix. And where it kind of draws the line is how much power do they have? Okay. In a weak matrix, that means that the operational manager has more standing versus the project manager. In relative even, you have both of them working together. And then in strong matrix, the tables turn, and now the project manager has a better stand. So when you look at the division of project management and the responsibilities, for example, in a matrix environment, a project manager might ask, what has to be done? What do we need to do to finish the work? Operation manager cares about the bottom line. How will it be done? Okay. And you have to come together and decide who will do the task to hopefully finish the project however you would like. Okay. Other times is that a project manager might ask what task should be done, and a negotiated area is, where will a task be done? Will it be done in a company, outside? Would it be outsourced? That's a question a project manager needs to do. When it comes down to money, how much money is available in the project versus how will the project involve and impact our functional activities? Okay. So the functional manager cares about the fact that if there's too much, uh, you know, cost going on, it might impact their own operations. The other side is how much is available so that I can pursue the maximum amount of returns. The middle line is why will the task be done, and what is the reason behind the task, and also how well, according to the project manager, how well has the total project been done. Okay, they want to look at progress versus the functional manager is how well has the operational input been integrated. Okay, so middle ground is satisfactory. Is it completed to your liking? Is it done in a methodical way? Do people enjoy what is going on, and how is it being impacted over time? Okay, and after we're going to come back from our break. What I want to do with you guys is I want you guys to see exactly how the strong matrix is done, the weak matrix, and of course what comes in the middle. Okay. So the time right now is 7:05. Let's take a break. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you, Professor.
You're very welcome. Any questions for me about the matrix, dedicated teams, project teams? Everything's clear?
Yeah, sorry, you want to come back at 7:05?
Oh, it's 7:05 on my watch. I was gonna give you 10 minutes
Okay.
and take a 10-minute break, come back at 7:15, and then we will restart. When we start, we will restart. I will also give you guys an opportunity uh, to release the group charters, and also talk a little bit about case number 2, which is going to be due not week 3 but in week 4. Okay. All right. So come back, guys, and we will continue. Take a 10, and please be back. Please be back at 7:15. Oh, a.m. Eastern Standard Time too. Okay. See you soon. Have a good break, and I'll see you guys here momentarily. Enjoy. Thank you guys for joining us once again. For those also who are joining us, just so a quick mention, the some of you guys I realize have different connections than others, and it might pose a problem, especially in your connectivity and understanding the class. Nonetheless, I left over in the chat. If you look in the chat, I've left over, and I'll probably do it again. I've left all the week 1 and week 2 um, videos available. So, for whatever reason, your internet goes down, you have connectivity issues, whatever happens, I'm there for you guys. But also, I realize that in some cases, my language might be a little bit off. Either my accent is off, or the way that you learn is a little bit, sorry, different. So what I want to cater to is making sure that you get the most out of the class, and to get the most out of the class is hopefully making sure that you understand the class and enjoy it, not sit and say, what was he talking about? So a lot of times students like to kind of review the class, and having a video helps you, because then you can say, okay, well, I did not understand something that went in class last week. Let's go back and review it. Okay. And hopefully throughout time, I can give you the videos earlier. Okay. I believe you guys have like a WhatsApp chat, correct? Ish. Something going on with the group that they know each other, connecting the dots. I'm assuming. No? Okay. But if you do, I can more than happy to send it to 1 or 2 students, and then those students can kind of like create it into a viral video that they can share with the group, and making sure that everybody gets a piece of the pie. But unless I'm gonna also give you guys on the first class that we're always together, the first half of the class, I'm gonna give you the video so that you can see it and archive it if you need to. Okay. Okay. So welcome back, everybody. In the next half of the class, we're going to finish our lecture. We're going to do the group charter and the case study. For a quick reminder for those who created a group and have a group, before we finish the class, can one of you guys formulate who's on your team, so I can put you on the right team and not on a team that you are not part of. Okay. So I have my draft teams, but if you create a team, okay, and you have a team, please, before we go into the end of the class, because I gotta give you time in class to work on your project charter, please make sure to give me the teams so I can update them on my side, and hopefully give you guys some time to work on it together. Okay. Nonetheless, I'm gonna also read case number 2 and hopefully start on a good note week number 4 and beyond. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about different matrix forms. And to start you guys off, let's start with the lowest one, the weak matrix. Weak matrix, don't confuse it with the movie The Matrix. The matrix is basically a form that's very similar to functional organizations, functional approach. The idea is, with the exception that there is a formally designed project manager. So a project manager that's hired to coordinate project activities. Now, let me explain this very quickly. It's a functional organization. You have a full-time project manager, okay? But it's still in the same kind of direction as a functional team, where you have hierarchies in the top directing how the project will go. Okay. So the idea is that because you have a full-time project manager, a operational manager or a functional manager is responsible to manage their segmented of the project, meaning that an individual who has the same kind of level as you do will manage you. Okay. And that's where it becomes a little bit unfair. Okay. Why is somebody in my pay category, in my grade category, is managing me? Some people do not like it. Okay, and you can clearly see where this whole friction starts here. Basically, the project manager does not have a lot of say because the operational manager controls them, and they act as only as an assistant or a assistant to the project who will draw the schedules and the checklist, collect data information on the status on the work, and make sure that the project would be completed. So basically what happens here is that the project manager basically becomes an administrator, basically goes in and becomes an administrator to how the project will look like. Okay. And part of this also has to do with the PM book and the reading I gave you guys this week. Under week number 3, I gave you guys part number section 4.5 to read. And section 4.5 talks about monitoring and controlling your project work. The good part here is we have a week that we're going to only talk about monitoring the project. But again, some inputs that you have is project management planning, project documentation, contract issues, and learning guarantees, and making sure that milestones are going to be done, work performance is going to be agreed upon, enterprise and organizational process will be inputted. And of course, the tools and techniques is that you have people's judgment, expertise going on, and different analysis being done from root cause analysis to variance analysis, trend, and alternatives, creating a decision, doing meetings, and then the result is you have work performance reports, different change requests, different project management planning and updates, different documentation and forecasting, and also lessons learned and any risks that need to be registered as well. So, oh, we got some fan mail. Ooh, hi, Professor. I would like to see. Sure, yeah. And what occurs here is that, hold on one second. What occurs is that when you look at monitoring and controlling your project work, the idea is to process and track, as well as review different reports and overall progress to meet the performance of course, your objective, defining your different characteristics, and making sure that you have the key benefits of process that are allowed by your stakeholders to definitely understand your current stage of the project and monitor it properly. So a lot of times the actions taken to address the performance issues and the visibility into the future projects is very, very important. Different statuses on the cost, the schedule, forecasting should be done, and the process is going to be performed throughout the project. And the inputs, tools, and techniques and outputs of the process, if you read it further, could be found in Figure 410. This is Figure 410, but there's more information about it, as well as 411 that depicts data flow up of the diagram and the process going forward. So moving forward, guys, there is other forms of matrix that we can use here. Other forms, of course, is balance. So in this case, both the project manager and the functional manager have sort of a 50-50 stake. Okay, the project manager is responsible now for defining what needs to be accomplished. Okay, so they know exactly the project objective, define how to get there. So now the project manager establishes the overall plan for completing the project, and make sure that when completing the project, there's going to be a system out there. Hold on, guys. Just bear with me. Hold on, guys. 2 minutes, guys. I just have an emergency.
All right, 1 second, guys, just bear with me here.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. I had a little bit of a spillover happening. 1 second, just bear with me. It integrated into my computer, so I needed to clean a couple of things here. Oh God. Okay. 1 second. I'm just going to reboot where we were. Okay. Whew. What a mess. Okay. So going forward, guys, we talked a little bit about the area of a balanced matrix, and one of the areas that we simply kind of like try to understand a little bit more is the idea of having a balanced matrix and understanding through the balanced matrix of what kind of areas does the balance matrix have for us in making sure that some of the major categories will be kind of hopefully done. So a project manager is responsible for defining what needs to be completed, including, of course, trade-offs and understanding beyond that how to establish the overall plan for completing the project. So it does integrate and integrate the contribution of the different disciplines and sets that a schedule has, how to monitor the progress, how to make sure that the progress is going to be done and completed. And by that means, there's also going to be a situation out there where when you have functional management, you're going to have management that are concerned about how it will be accomplished. Functional managers definitely are responsible for hiring the people and executing their segment of the project so that their standards and schedules are set by the project manager. So basically, the functional manager can hire the people and the project manager can be able to control their project accordingly. Okay. So it kind of gives like a 50-50 balance. Okay. A balance where some of the project is going to be done by the project coordinator, some of it is not. Okay. But now we talked about the weak management where a project manager simply has no say. Then we looked on the project coordination. Okay. And lastly, we also understand a little bit more about the matrix environment of both weak and balanced. So what is the next important area to look for? The next one, of course, is the strong matrix. The strong matrix is that the project manager controls most aspects of the project, including the trade-offs of scope and the assignment of functional personnel. The project manager also controls when and what specials do and has a final say on major project decisions. So in this case, the project manager is sort of a important figure on understanding the realm of what kind of project we are in and what exactly we need to do. Okay, so a lot of times the functional manager has very little support over their people. So again, that's where you can basically take them and custom them to your project. And definitely when consulted on a needed basis, when we look at a strong matrix, the functional manager will serve as a subcontract to the project. Okay. So what occurs here a lot of times is that in a strong matrix, what happens here is that the project manager has a better standing, okay, can decide where the project is going, can dictate it, can ask for, separate support, and a functional manager has basically just a title and the people, but that's about it, okay, and they don't have much say what occurs here. Thank you. So moving forward, when we start to look at a good part and bad part about the matrix. The idea about the matrix is that within the matrix environment, you have advantages and disadvantages. Okay. So some advantages are creating, of course, efficiency. Okay. Seeing exactly when to utilize both, all three parts of the matrix. Okay. And the focus, of course, is project. So you got to have a strong project focus on it. And easier post-transaction because again, once you go into a transaction, depends if it's a strong, weak, or balanced project, you're definitely going to have a very easy way to get out of it. Okay. Then, of course, you have flexibility. And within flexibility, you're going to have a situation in which you're going to be able to understand a little bit more about how easy it is to maintain it. And of course, nonetheless, the disadvantages of having a matrix environment is a dysfunctional conflict will arise because there's going to be conflicts between operational managers and project managers, and there's going to be a lot of infighting. There's also going to be some stress going on, especially with different individuals, and more or less, it may be a very slow project to actually operate. Okay, so within project management, we start to understand that in some specific companies, you do have to create a project management office. And the idea of a project management office is to have a centralized unit within a company or a department that oversees and supports the project itself. So it plays a critical role in helping the matrix system, especially, go into a more mature mode and hopefully an effective project delivery platform. So a lot of times when we categorize the project management office, a lot of times their goal is to break it down to different departments and different operations. So a lot of times we have what we call the weather station that can track and monitor project performance to see if there's sunny and good weather or possibly gray. It also has a control tower that improves project execution, making sure that you have a control tower to oversee how it's done. Resources that are going to be brought together. So we want to make sure that the right resources are going to be coming in, the right managers and right professionals will be assigned. And of course, a command control center that can give authorization over the project and decide exactly where the authorization of control might lead to. Okay, so this ushers in the project management office in giving a system based upon what the organization requests on how it can control a project and at which point it can monitor the project over time. Yeah, Mary?
So what's the difference between like a project management office versus the dedicated project team within a functional environment?
When you have a dedicated project team, you basically create a individual that will be dealt with within a project. But in this particular case, you're going to have somebody who's going to be assigned, but with a project management office, you have your own department. And with
But-
the dedicated project team, it can be disbanded. But there is going to be a certain situation where in a dedicated project team, they're going to have more authorization. In this particular case, you're going to have a whole department that will usher in, especially in the matrix situation, a individual department that can be assigned to the whole project or multiple projects.
But I thought in the dedicated project team, those individuals that were pulled from the other departments or whatever, that would be their full-time kind of thing. Like when it was because I was asking, I'm like, when it's slow, do they just go back to their other departments? And you're like, no, because they would most likely be busy all the time. So therefore, like that's them now, projects.
Right.
So
So
isn't that the same thing as this?
yeah, but in the project management office, you're ushering in a whole new department that can analyze and oversee multiple projects. So within a dedicated project team, you can have, of course, one project working at the same time, and you're going to have a full-time staff. Or in a project management office, you're going to have a full-on department working at the same time, working in a way where you can have and operate, especially when you have a matrix environment that can work in hybrid, a department that's fully dedicated to monitoring and controlling the project over time. So the idea is that you're going to have a project manager, one individual project manager, but in a dedicated team, they're going to have to control, the tracking. They're going to have to improve execution, provide, of course, trained individuals. Now you're going to have individuals we call administrators go in and be able to assist and track all these items all together.
Okay.
So what occurs here is that when you compare, of course, again, we're talking about a department within, a organization dealing with project. What you're going to be dealing with here is understanding a little bit more than the matrix environment, basically where you stand. Okay, you're going to have different sets of operations, different areas of expertise, and different people that can actually assist the project manager in moving forward. Okay, not just, of course, people from different departments, but also a full-on staff. And that's where we talked about how expensive it might be to have a dedicated project team. But in this particular case, you're going to have, say, a budget of maybe $500,000 that you have to maintain to bring on all these individuals, all these skills, and make sure they can operate functionally and hopefully give a business case to your organization.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of times, the major question that you might be asking yourself right now is what certain uh, structure is needed in project management. And the answer might not always be clear. Okay, the answer might not always be there, but a lot of times when you look at organizational consideration, based upon how of a necessity, how needed it should be that the project success is going to be tied to the company. You want to make sure that a percentile of the core work involves within a project. Okay, so again, the level of resources that are available, the amount of budget you have, the idea that you want to succeed within your company is very, very important. And a lot of times when you look at the project consideration side of things, the idea is you want to decide how big the project is. If it's like small projects here and there, for example, like hiring people, expanding operations, purchasing new equipment or servers, it's not going to be very, very big. Okay. But if you have massive projects that require time, ingenuity, all these small little facets left and right, then definitely you have to consider, developing a matrix environment or possibly a dedicated project team to be able to use all these scenarios. You also have to decide if it's the project is strategically important to the company. And of course, you have an ongoing project that requires some form of innovation. Okay. There's also this situation where you're dealing with multiple departments. So the need for integration, the need for complexity, and of course, looking at the internal area, making sure that there's going to be some form of environmental, area where different departments can deal with. And don't forget also that in some companies, they do not have the funds. Okay. So sometimes budget and time constraints are a consideration that you have to decide which kind of structure best fits your organization. Also, you have to definitely look at stability of resource requirements. Okay, make sure that you have the right resources because, as we mentioned, in some situations you may not have the right individuals. You may outsource it, but then when it comes out to budget, your company cannot be able to afford them. Okay, so it all comes down to company culture, and the idea is that by looking at the mission, the visionary statements of a company, the idea is you want to look at organizational structure and be able to understand a little bit more about the system that you're working in. So a lot of times between organizational culture, you look at a system where you have a shared norms, different values, beliefs, different assumptions that will put and bind people together. They're of course creating a shared goal, shared meanings amongst your organization. People usually reflects their own personality of the company, and basically some people say to themselves, "Well, I'm not, you know, a position. I am the company. I am the title of the company." So based on the company culture, there are several different important factors to understand in organizations. And a lot of times the factor is that some people have a sense of identity and being part of a fraternity and membership within the organization. It can also create legitimacy to look at management systems and reinforce different standards and behaviors going forward. Also, you want to create kind of a norm within your company, thereby, of course, creating a social standards of sorts and making sure that that social standards is going to be an important part within your organization. So some of the key dimensions on defining company culture, you have about 10 different dimensions that you can look at. But a lot of times what the dimensions kind of look at is, two different ranges. And the two different ranges is that we look at member identity. So as I mentioned, sometimes there are people who get positions and they have a title. So you might be an accountant, a project manager, an engineer, or anything else. But some people only see that as a job title, meaning that I can be replaced or I can go somewhere else. And for whatever reason, I can transfer those skills that I had in my first company to a new company. Okay. And a member identity might say, well, when you speak about your company, do you speak for the fact that um, here's my title, I am an accountant, Or the opposite, here is my name and I work for this company. Okay. I am Google. I am Microsoft. I am PCL Limited. All right. So the idea that we want to create here is to build the identity. Where do people see themselves? Okay. And also in team emphasis, do people in this company like to work by themselves or in a group? What about management focus? Do people have tasks going on, or are they people oriented? When it comes down to unit integration, do people work independently or interdependently within other departments? Do they need another department in order to function? When it comes to control, is control very loosely done in this company, or is it very tight? It's controlled by top management. What about the risk? Okay, it's very low or high. Reward criteria. Is there rewards being given to this organization or not? Maybe they give rewards based on different merits, different departments, and different results. Then, of course, when you look at conflict tolerance, is it the conflict that they expect? Do they want conflict? Do they want functional conflicts, dysfunctional conflicts? How much of tolerance level do they have? And of course, the philosophy of a means to an end or an ends to a mean. Definitely, where are they oriented in this parameter? And you can kind of discuss it. And when it comes to open system focus, do they focus mostly on their internal support or anything outside? So when you take these items all together, you want to identify cultural characteristics. And when you identify cultural characteristics, you study the physical characteristic of a company. You investigate and read about the organization before joining them. You observe how people interact with the organization. Make sure you can interpret different stories, different folklores, different things surrounding the organization, and make sure that within the organization, there's going to be a simple situation where you want to start to understand the company before you join them. Okay. So I want to give you an example of a company in perspective, and this company, uh, let's assume we're just going to have a made-up company. What this company is a company called Power Corp. And in Power Corp, you break it down on what's available and how to analyze it. And then what I'm going to show you later on is how people interpret the company. Okay, and where does it exist in the dimension? Okay, so when you look at the physical characteristics of the company, you look at the office layout, their attire, what they dress, their decor, architecture, and so forth. Turns out that the company physical Power Corp has a corporate head office in downtown Toronto, has a modern building. President is on the top floor. Offices are bigger on top floors than the lower floors. So as you go down, there are cubicles. Most of the time, the business attire are formal. So you have suits and power suits, dresses and ties. Power appears to increase as higher as you go. And of course, when you look at public documentation, since they are a public company, you have annual reports, newsletters, and vision statements. So again, at the heart of Power Corp, the ways are vision. To be a global leader, the company has to be admired first by its people, partnership, and performance. And the integrity is that we are honest people. We're honest at Power Corp, and we meet the highest ethical standards in all business dealings. We do not, we do what we say, and we will do what we will do. Okay. And those are things that are public. They're open to the people through the internet, annual reports, and beyond. Behavior is a little bit different. The pace, the language, make decision styles, rituals, and so forth. How does Power Corp stand in this situation? Power Corp is a hierarchical decision-making organization. They're fast, they're brisk, but orderly. They meet start and end times for meetings, so they don't go over or under. People below you, subordinates, they have to choose their words very carefully when talking to managers. And most of the time, people do not work past 6 o'clock, which is not too bad. Even more so when it comes to rewards, the president takes top performing units who do really well in the company on a boat cruise. Okay, so they definitely have some rewards going on there. Some of the folklores that we see in, of course, Power Corp, uh, either stories, rumors, anecdotes, who was a hero, who was the villain, who was the good guy, bad guy kind of thing. There's 3 different scenarios that they gave us where a young manager was fired, young project manager was fired after going over his boss's head to ask for additional funds. So again, if the boss said to you, I'll give you $1 million for this project, you do your analysis, say, listen, this project cannot be done, for $1 million, it needs like 1.25 million, then you definitely cannot go back to the boss. The boss makes the last call. So clearly, if it's on a matrix, definitely a project manager has a weak matrix in this scenario. Stephanie C, however, was considered a hero for taking responsibility for a technical error she did. All right. So all of a sudden, if you found a technical error or you did a technical error, you're not held responsible for it. Okay. You're definitely rewarded for being innovative and finding the solution. However, it wasn't the same for Jack. Jack S was labeled as a traitor for joining a chief competitor company after working for Power Corp for 15 years. Okay, so if you leave the company, unfortunately, once you leave, sayonara, we do not need you anymore, especially when you are going to our nemesis. Okay, so this is how we diagnose the company. You take the company itself that you work with, and then you decide what kind of structure you would like to make. So there's a lot of different implications when you look at organizational culture for companies. A lot of times, the project manager interacts with the culture of the organization, as well as the subculture of various departments, plays a very important role for us. A lot of times, the project manager definitely understand the company culture, the customers, and the organization. And in other organizations, you want to connect with the project, such as working with your suppliers, your consumers, vendors, different subcontractors, advising companies, firms, different governments and organizations, even regulatory agencies. Okay, you want to work with them and see what you can do. And a lot of times when we look at a company, there is a project management, metaphor of sorts that we call it the riverboat trip. Under riverboat trip, it talks about the relationship between company culture and project management. Okay, where the culture is simply the river, but the project is the boat. What does that mean? It means that you can have, of course, a very good project manager, but the company culture is very rocky. It's very rocky, very hard to steer, and it becomes a problem. Okay. And in some cases, it can be turned around where definitely the boat is not stable. Okay. And definitely is very difficult to move forward. So, under the riverboat trip, you want to make sure that the company is sound, easy, and hopefully easy to get in, easy to manage, and hopefully you can decide what kind of environment based on the organizational objective, based on your own emphasis, what kind of company you would like to create from it. Okay. But nonetheless, I've done the research, of course, for Power Corp. And basically, when you look at Power Corp and you take the 10 dimensions that I told you guys, the ranges, a lot of times when you look at member identity, okay, I would say they are more focused on the organization. So they always say, I am Power Corp. Okay, I'm not, say, a regional manager. I'm not an account manager. I'm not sales or accounting. I am the company. Okay, so they are more organizational related. They do like to work in groups. They're sort of people focused. Okay, it's hard to kind of put a nice figure on it. But definitely when it comes to unit integration, they're definitely interdependent. Definitely if one department doesn't do well, another department may take a hit. When it comes to control, even though they're very well organized, they're kind of loose in a way. So definitely there's different wording that particular information we had that showed that they're kind of a loose cannon in some ways. They're not very tightly controlled. However, the risk tolerance is very high. Okay, meaning that of course they definitely want to make sure that any project will give you a good return. When it comes to rewards, I would say they're kind of performance related because again, they didn't really tell me exactly what kind of commission they give or bonuses, but they did tell that if you do well as a unit, the president and the CEO will take you on a boat cruise. So that's not too shabby. And then when it comes down to conflict tolerance, they're very high. Okay, they definitely understand that there is conflict, and of course, we saw conflict with the junior manager getting fired for asking for more funds, and of course, the philosophy of means to ends or end to means. I couldn't figure that one out, but definitely I'll put it in the middle. Okay, kind of fair way to say, well, would it be a means to an end or an end to means? You decide. But definitely when it has an open system focus based upon the reading, it definitely is more external than we saw. Okay. So these are the cultural dimensions for Power Corp. And a lot of times you can see the pattern here that in most cases, you can easily kind of understand that in most cases, the idea is going on this range right here, okay, and making sure that this range is going to be the more formidable, more supportive range that we are going to hopefully work on. So moving forward, guys, what we are going to discuss a little bit further is talking about some key terms that we discussed today. Some of the key terms, of course, we talked about balanced matrix. Okay, so we talked about that there is a couple balanced matrix out there, or the whole matrix environment. Balanced matrix is where functional manager and the project manager are kind of even. They delegate the work evenly, 50-50. But it's always the same. You have a weak matrix where a project manager only focuses on, the administrative side and doesn't have much say in a project, and that might not be fair. Where you have also a strong matrix, where in a strong matrix environment, you're going to be dealing with an environment where in most cases you're going to have individuals that will be able to you know have a project manager that can even dictate exactly the objective of the project, can make sure that the project is going as scheduled. Beyond that, you have the dedicated project teams that sometimes you have specific organizations that deal primarily on the dedicated organizations, and company culture, which will dictate which kind of environment you want to be in. We mentioned there's projectivities, which of course, in projectivities situations, you have a we versus them mentality, where in some cases, many people in the company will basically say, well, why do they get, all these benefits? The fact that they don't have to wear ties, the fact that it's a very easygoing environment. How come we don't have that as well? Okay. And some people will simply say that's not fair. And because they simply say it's not fair, you'll have a little bit of disgruntlement going on. But nonetheless, we have companies that are fully projectized, okay, where the bread and butter of their organization is fully directed on making projects and being formulated in projects. And that ushers in, of course, the department that we can formulate a project management office that now you have a dedicated project team, but you also have a full-on project that individuals will work on, and create a team that will be very functional, supportive, and assessing. Okay. So those are some key terms that we discussed. Beyond that, I just want to mention one last thing about managing teams. If you look under the PM book, under managing teams is a process of tracking team members' performance, giving good feedback, giving reasonable feedback, dealing with different issues and solving problems, and making sure that by managing teams and trying to optimize on the project team behavior, the key benefits of the process is to influence your behaviors and the team itself, deal with conflicts and resolve different problems. And of course, the process is performed throughout the project, and definitely managing teams is not just starting the teams, but also working on how they can improve. So the input tools and techniques that you can see here on section 9.5 is depicted down below in figure 912. And then if you read figure 913, it will give you a dial flow. Okay, so again, inputs is like looking at the plan of the project, doing the right documentation, looking at work performances, assessing your teams, deciding on enterprise factors from how to deal with the company, so the project, and looking at company process assets to decide on how you would like to move your team forwards. Then, of course, you have interpersonal and team skills settings. Under that, you have to deal with different managerial skills, from dealing with conflicts to emotional intelligence of people, not just IQ, but EQ of the individuals, who will be an influencer, who will be a leader, what kind of system would a project be, and taking those tools and techniques and creating outputs of making modification and change, creating updates, any resource plans, scheduling and creating a baseline, and creating the right documents at the end. What kind of lessons did you learn? What kind of team environments did you work in? And any enterprise environmental factors that you would want to pick up with. Okay. So again, nonetheless, in today's learning activity, the learning activity can be found in slide 36. Under slide 36, what you'll see is the learning team activity for today is based on the project manager leadership facets. And the goal is that it's aimed at making sure on how to improve the competencies of the project team members. So how can we create team interactions? How can we increase the overall project team? What kind of environmental factors can we do to enhance the project success? And also, what can we do to ensure that the project team efforts works together effectively and efficiently to decrease turnover rates, improve individual knowledge and skills to improve the teamwork? So my question for you is very simple, guys. It's kind of like one question broken down into like 3 different sections or 2. How can you improve the team? Okay. If you were given a position as a project leader, how can you improve a team? And to throw the curveball on you guys, especially how can you improve a team when everyone is a leader? Let's assume you're going to work in a project where everyone is a project manager. Okay. So they have expectations like you do. Okay. How would you deal with it? All right. So what I want you guys to do is look at the question. How can you improve a team when everyone's a leader? You can, number one, say, well, I'll do this and this and this. And when everyone is kind of a project manager in their own mindset, high performing team, how do you deal with that as well? Okay. Answer it, write it down for me, and then you can submit it to me by hopefully next week by the start of the class. Okay. Beyond that, guys, also I'm gonna release the team study assignment for today. Part number 1, which is a project charter. Now the crazy part, thank you. The crazy part here is that within the project charter, what I want you guys to do is I want you guys, number 1, to assign your teams and work accordingly. Now, the crazy part here is that you started in the third week, but in the 7th week, I will remind you guys about it. And then what's going to happen is that in week, what's is that? Week number 10, 11, that's when you start to submit your work. Okay. There's 3 parts here. Part number 1 is your project charter. Part number 2 is going to be your report, which is a chunk of your mark. And then last part is going to be your presentation. Okay. They're in different parts. The first part I want you guys to do is create the project charter. So you've been assigned a team or you created a team. You will receive their email very shortly. And as you saw, there's an email of every student in the class. You work on the first part of the project charter, and you have everyone receive the document. All right. Your goal is you need to submit the document to me, and of course, make sure that the project charter is going to be sent to everyone in your group. Okay. So I want to show you quickly where to find it under our Moodle. Okay. So if you guys look into your Moodle, and I'm just going to bring it up.
Only one submission per group, correct?
You can everyone can submit it if you would like. Okay. It's not a turn-in situation. I would encourage you guys to all submit it, seeing that I can actually get some clarification, some sleep, that everyone has that document, whereas
Okay.
only one person has it. So it would be advantageous, but it's your call how you want to do it. But what I would like to get your attention to is under this particular item. One second.
All right.
Testing. Okay, sorry. Under the particular area that I want to show you here
It's
is
showing YouTube, sir, sorry.
I know it's showing
Okay.
YouTube. I'm gonna I just had to put it in. Just bear with me here, please. And what we're gonna be looking here for is that under the leadership facets section, you can clearly see that there is a group project plan for part number 1. So if you would look quickly, there's 2 documents you can see here. Number 1, you can see the group information page. And under the group information page, you'll see the instructions you need. However, I also given you guys under important announcements, the project charter. Okay, so under here, you see a template. And if you click on the template, what you will get here is you will get a document. And I'm going to open the document and show you exactly what's needed. So again, I'm just going to stop this viewing 1 second and show you exactly what's in the document. One second. What you will see here is a very important, 1 second, guys, a very important situation where, hold on. One second. You're going to see a document where basically what you will hopefully complete for me, guys, is you will complete for me a document where you're going to hopefully be able to do the project. And basically what you need to do here is you need to be able to go in, okay? And the goal that you want to do here is, 1 second, I'm just gonna give you guys the charter. What you will see here is the following. One second. So underneath this area, guys, you're going to see the project charter. So under important announcements, the project charter will show you the whole breakdown of the whole project work. So in the first one, the first project charter you are going to do, and can you see my screen here? It's a Word document.
Yes, Professor.
Good,
Yeah.
thank you. So underneath, you'll see the project charter, okay? And you'll see exactly all the necessary items that you need to do, okay? And what you need to do here is you need to complete the project charter and be able to submit to me a document that will outline exactly how you will complete it and what you will need to do here, okay? So underneath the project charter, what you will see is that you get the project detail. You're going to talk about the course code name, my name, the date of submission, and the name of the project. You can pick your own project title. And now below, you're going to write down the student's name, pick a leader, and talk about due dates according to the project deliverable. And then talk about your expectations, talking about fair contribution, collaboration, and then outlining the project guidelines so everybody agrees on, okay? And what's going to happen here is you go through it and then submit it to me, okay? Don't work on part number 2. Part number 2 is due on unit 10. Only work on this particular item and then submit it to me. Any questions about this?
Professor, sorry. You mean that we just have to fill in the learning team agreements part, means part 1, which you included in the file?
Yes.
And also all of teammates can submit it separately?
I would encourage you to submit it separately, okay?
Okay.
But it's your call how you want to do it. You're billing currently your team norms. So if the team norms is to have one person submit it, by all means. But if it's everybody, then you guys have to decide on it, okay? I would encourage everybody to submit it, okay? Because it gives you a peace of mind knowing that everyone has a project charter.
Thank you, Prof.
You're very welcome. Any other questions? One second. I'm just going to talk with one student here. Okay. So what I'm gonna do also is I just want to quickly talk a little bit about the area of the unit number 2 case. Okay. So you guys have a little bit more of a heads up on it. And another thing that I do want to mention is that if you do want to get a head start on it, by all means, you have that option as well. And the idea that we could hopefully do here is that within a project charter, the idea that I want you guys to kind of put on is how to execute it properly, how to put it together, and definitely complete it on time. But now let's, of course, if you guys want to take a head start in the case study, I believe, is going to be due by the early of February the 5th. Okay. So I'm going to give you February 5th as the due date. And what's going to show you is that under February the 5th, okay, I want you guys to complete, your second part. The second part of your case study is going to be called comparative analysis, project leadership styles. And hopefully after you complete your, 1 second, does anyone have their mic open? Okay, sorry. What we're going to talk about is the same kind of idea from the case study number 1. Submit it, maximum of 3 pages, double space. Doesn't include the title page and the references. And the idea here is you want to explore various roles and responsibilities, traits and situations to deal with on handling a required project team and project manager. Talk about the importance of skills, hard skills, soft skills, people skills, to get into a project management role. And the case will help you understand that. Demonstrate the awareness of learning about how to deal with stakeholders in a project environment and understand successful roles and end results. Okay. Identify the potential pitfalls and wrong decisions in a transformational project, and eventually create a case study for me, a document on how to do this, hopefully successfully. Okay. This will be done February 5th, guys, but I'm giving you a heads up. So the guys will have some head start on case number 2. Okay. And what I want to do right now is I want to break you guys down into groups. Okay. Make sure that you utilize some time in class to get to know each other. Make sure that you can be part of a team. And as I mentioned, some of you guys create your own teams on it, no problem. I will respect that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to break you guys into groups and assign you to teams. And I'm just going to pop in to see how you guys are doing. Okay. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to put you on the Teams itself, and I'm going to put you into groups. Okay, I'm going to open up the document itself and hopefully assign you as need be. 1 second, I'm just going to open up the document. Okay, so let me see who's on my team. Okay. Hello? 1 second, I'm just going to open up the teams. You're under attendance. Okay, so you are in the Glow groups. Okay. 1 second. I'm just going to open that one up and assign the teams. I believe there's like 4 or 5 teams going on. Okay, perfect. Okay. Let me put this team together, organize it nicely, and assign you guys as need be. So in team number 1, hold on, I'm just going to put them in. Where's the breakout rooms? Okay, perfect. Team number 1 is going to be, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams. And I'm going to sign manually. I create the rooms. All right, team number 1, we got Mana. We got Marcia, she's not here today. Jide. We got Genera.
I'm Mary Carr. I'm here.
Okay, I know you're here. Thank you. And we got sorry.
I'm
Sorry.
Marcia.
Okay, Ellen. Okay, so I didn't see that. Sorry, Mari. Sorry about that. And Kong.
Is this attendance, sir?
Sorry.
Is this an attendance or
I'm just sending you guys up in the breakout rooms.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, 1 second. And then in room number 2, I got Yulia, Bing.
Yes, I'm Bing. Bing.
You Bing, right?
Yes, Yu Bing.
Okay, you Bing. Weiran. Yuan.
Yes, Professor.
Okay, and that's gonna be in
Yeah,
one
no
team.
problem.
Okay, and manager is gonna be broken apart. Then in the other team, I got Kushot, Singh, no Singh here. Depeche, no Depeche. Rohit. Then I got maybe I'll put the other ones in the other ones. I'm gonna put Shivam. I believe Monique is in it, and That is, hold on, one more person. Who's that person? Um, Tina, if you would like, you have an option. You can join. I'll put you in team number 3, but if you would like to join your section, by all means, you can still join your section. Okay. You found? Okay. Tina, and then in the last team I have Jialing, Yifan, Yiming, and Yuking. Okay, so I'm gonna open the groups, guys. All right, so if you're in the right group, let me know. If you're not, I'm still gonna check it out. Okay, so join your teams, guys, and I will join momentarily. Okay, so the groups are open. Please join them, and please join the groups, and hopefully, guys, make the most of it. Join the teams. Make sure that you make the most out of it. Make sure that your teams they know exactly the priorities. Finish up your assessment, the assignment, and definitely get it to me as soon as possible. Okay. Yeah, Yiming. Hello, Yiming. Yiming. Yeah. Yiming, you have a question?
Hi, Professor.
Hi.
I think me and Yiming and Chu You. No, not Chu You. It's Yiming and Janera and Cui Yujia. Is we four are in the same group. So you maybe form an
Okay, so who's on your team?
let me type for you, okay?
Okay, I needed typing before, but what I'll do is I'm gonna move you guys. I believe some of your group members are in room number 2, so I'm gonna move everybody to room number 2, and I want you guys to create a team of basically 4 or 5 people. Okay.
Okay,
So I
let me
moved
check.
you all into one big group. I know there's a mix here. Okay.
Sure,
But
let me
please
check.
make sure that you will do it. But now let's please work on it, and hopefully we'll finish it on time. Tina, okay. Is it I'm just gonna come to you guys very shortly. Manna, do you have a question?
Yeah, Professor, I don't know if you send us a link or whatever to join a breakout room or not.
I did already, yeah. Did you
Because
get
I
it?
didn't get. No, I didn't get.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
here.
right. All right, because you got invited, and Jide and Mario rejoined.
Yeah, Professor, I see. I see in Teams, my teammates send me message that where are you? Because of that, I
Okay.
asked you.
Okay, 1 second. I'm going to hold on, let me just take you off from it. Hold on, I'm gonna move you to a group and then move you back in. I'm gonna move you to group number 5, and then I'm gonna move you back to group number 1. Do you see your invite?
Yeah, Professor. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
no problem. Okay, Monique, do you recall who's which group you're in? Monique?
Hi, Professor.
Hi. Do you know, are you in group number 1?
No, I want to join Mana's group because the group where I am right now, I
Yeah.
even sent the email. I created a chat group in a chat
Yeah.
on MS Teams, so we can be discussing there. No one replied in my group, and the only one person who replied left the group to join our friends group. So
Okay.
Mana joins my group, and Mana want to go back in our group because they're active, and in my group there is no one. So I was
Okay.
asking if I can join Mana's group.
All right. I already put you in it already. Okay. You can join.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Welcome. All right. Who else is there? I don't know which day is the class for my section professor. They said there is no different in which Zoom class I attend. This time is not good for me, and now I don't know what to do for the project. Okay. Kanyang, you can join the group. Yifan, 1 second.
Hello,
Hold on.
Professor.
Tina, I'll talk to you one-on-one on this one. Are you still here? Kanyang, please
Yeah,
join the
hello.
group. you're part of group number
I
one.
think I sent you a message before. I sent an email before. So can I join to the group 1, not the group 3?
Yes, but for now, you want to join group number 3?
No, I want to join because before you separate the group, I'm the number 3, not the first one.
Okay,
Now I think the number
who's
is
your
confused for
group?
you.
Who's your group? With Weiran and Yuan?
The first one is the
Okay, I'm gonna put you in a team. There's 2 groups in one section. Please join them and then decide on which group you want to be a part of. Okay, Yufan,
oh,
I'm also gonna assign you there as well. Yufan, I'm also gonna put you there. Okay, and please join. So Jieling, Weiran, Yifan, Yiming, please join your team. Tina, you don't have to join the team. Don't worry about it. Hold on, I'm just gonna put you on a group. Okay, Tina, I'll talk to you one-on-one for a second. Just bear with me, Tina. Stick around. I'm just gonna join a team and I'll just help around.
Hi, yeah, we just need your help there. We only got 2 members so far, me and Rohit.
Okay,
The other
no
ones, I
problem.
don't know if they were in the class or not.
Okay, so stick around for that one. If there's only 2 up until the end of the week, okay.
Yeah.
What I recommend is I can put you on another team, okay.
Sure.
But create the
Yeah.
project charters to still get the mark.
Okay.
Yeah,
done.
actually, there are two more people that should be in our group. That is Kushjot and I think I don't know the other person's name.
Okay, so they're not here. They were Kujo was here, but I'm not sure about the other one. So I'll definitely try to make sure that they will arrive. But you can start the your assessment if you like.
Yeah. And Professor, can we submit the case one today? Like today is the last day with the penalty, right?
Yeah, you can still submit it online.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Professor.
Good luck.
So we can leave the class or
Yeah, when you're done, you can leave.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The attendance is like you can take it right now, or you
I take it automatically.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
I have a question. Would you be able to post the learning activities into the important announcements or no?
I did. It's under
Oh,
the PowerPoint, and I told you
oh, okay.
under page 36. Slide
Sorry,
36. It's there.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Quickly to Tina. Hi, Tina. Are you here? Okay. Hi. Okay. So which day is good for you? I mean, I give you like 3 options, and I have a class tonight for this on Zoom. Is Friday okay?
The thing is, my class was originally on Friday,
I know
and then
you were in my class.
I was in section 8B, no, B something,
Yeah.
and then they changed I talked to one of our advisors on the campus. They changed it to another section.
Yeah.
So that I would be on campus from Friday, I think 12 to 3. And then I changed all my work schedule and everything to like be off on that time.
Right.
But then like that didn't happen, and I didn't see any important announcement or any changes for that section, so I don't know what's the day as well.
Right.
And ever since I've been talking to Nick, I think at school, and Kaylee, like we don't know, like they were like, you can attend this class
Okay.
because we're gonna get some updates, and I don't know what to do, and I can't, like I want to get a firm schedule so that I can at least like change my work schedule so that I can attend and do these ones, but I don't.
Yeah, so Tina, it's my fault, to be honest, because I had some emergencies to deal with. Not the first one we saw today, but Friday for me was very problematic. So what I've done is I give students the option to learn it either Friday afternoon from 3 to 6, which is an option, or Wednesday from 3 to 6, or the last option was this class from 6 to 9. I even offered Mondays, but only like 4 people took it. So it didn't make any sense, and I didn't want to give you guys add-ons, right? So
yeah,
Listen,
But
let me work on your schedule, okay? Let me see what I can help you in. Tina, send me an email and I can give you the video recording if you need, you missed out on something. I will always be supported for you regardless.
thank you.
So let me know how I can assist you and help you guys out.
Like, is this project something that I can do on my own so that I can at least do it and upload it on my own section? Because like this is a global class and I'm not even
Yeah.
allowed to attend, but
I-
they said like you can.
Yeah.
So I can do it alone.
You I would it's a group work and I don't want you to do it by yourself. I mean, if you still want to stick around, I can put you in a team here. But nonetheless, I would want you
Yeah,
to
because like honestly, I if I know like my group member, like my classmates are attending which day, I would change it. But in the past, even last night, I was on campus and I wanted to talk to Nick and Pavlos. No one was there so that I can get an answer, and they were like, "We'll talk to you."
Okay.
I mean, like it wasn't a firm schedule. That's why
I'm
they
sorry, yeah.
didn't want me to like change it as well. But
Okay.
I just don't want to miss on my tasks.
Okay,
That's the
no
only
problem.
thing I'm worried about. Like I can't like get up in the morning because I'm working from
Yeah.
like usually afternoon until night. It's okay, like one day I can get up and like be on the class, but I like for group projects and all that I need to be in my like section because I don't know.
Okay. Definitely we can work on something. So let me know what works for you and I can adjust accordingly.
Okay. Do you, Professor, know what? Look, I'm in section A now. My classmates are attending which class?
So
So that I can at least like change my work schedule to the other Zoom meeting. But like I've been told, like no, don't change your work schedule because it might change.
okay. So I
Hello, Professor.
hi, yes.
Hello, Professor. So now we got a little bit confused about group 2 right now. So now we have 9 people in the group. So
It's not,
can
no,
we?
it's not 9 people. Kang Yang, I put you guys in a group because there's a lot of mixing and matching. So I told you guys make it into 2 groups, create a project charter, and then give it to me.
So we can separate to 2 groups, right?
Yes, yes. But I told you because everybody's saying I'm in this group, in that group.
Oh,
I
yeah,
put you guys in
sorry.
one group, make it into 2 groups, and then give it to me.
So we will give you the new group members, right?
Correct, yes.
At end of, can we give you at end of the class or later? It's okay.
You can give me until Sunday.
Sunday. Okay, thank you so much.
Good luck, guys. Okay, I'm proud of you guys. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you.
Thank you. Tina, you're still with me?
Yeah.
Okay, so 8A.
Mm-hmm.
One second. 8A is gonna be, I believe, Wednesday. Oh my God, hold on. I may have gotten wrong. Hold on. Okay, sorry. Okay, so if you're in section 8B, it's gonna be Friday, 3 to 6, and your section 8A, it's 3 to 6 on Wednesday.
So I have to attend 3 to 6 on Wednesday.
Yeah, we're gonna have one this today, but you don't have to
But I
attend that
can't.
one because you attend this one.
Yeah, no, I can't. I want to attend the afternoon classes, but I can't because I haven't like changed anything yet. I changed it like my 12 to 3 is open on Friday since I thought it's gonna be that one. Even
No.
after they changed it for me, that's the problem. Like
Okay.
I didn't know.
I mean, listen, you can attend the lecture, and if you still want to be part of the 12 to 3 group, by all means.
So I can be a part of my original group
Yeah,
and
I can
attend the lecture on Wednesdays 12
whenever
to
you're
3,
comfortable. Yeah. Sorry, Wednesday from 3 to 6.
3 to 6.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it's
you
gonna
can.
be like this for the rest of the term, right? So I have to change my schedule for 3 to 6 on Wednesdays.
Yeah, well, for now,
Okay.
like I'm hoping that this will be the final, but like, if you are not, you cannot attend like a lecture, like I'll give you options to attend any other lecture, and I'll still mark you with your section that you have.
Okay.
Okay.
But and do we have a list for the group members so that I can like email them about?
I think I made a list, but if not, send me an email and I'll give you the list.
Okay, Professor, because I didn't see in my important announcements.
Okay, I'll take a look and see what I can find here.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Should I stay or?
Oh no, you can go.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.
You're welcome. Take care.